Hi, welcome to this first Note Anytime and Share Anytime training course. The goal of this session today is really just to give you an understanding as a user of the basic functionality and a little bit of a deep dive into some of the more sort of advanced features that are available so that you can use them as you see fit. We'll start off here. We're going to use Note Anytime, and we're using Note Anytime on Windows 8. The reason for this is that it allows me to actually show you where I'm tapping as I'm talking to you. Now, obviously, Note Anytime and Share Anytime are both available on Android and Universal iOS. So just go to the App Store, download this on your particular device or on all of your different devices, and you should be able to follow along with the majority. There are a few small changes between the different versions, and we're sort of trying to keep them all moving towards the same goal there. But any problems, give us a shout on our support site, and yeah, we'll help you out as much as we can. Okay, then to start with, I just want to go through how we can organise documents in both Share and Note Anytime. We have a concept of a digital cabinet, and digital cabinet, if we go to the settings here, digital cabinet is a storage for backup and also for synchronizing. So you can synchronize. I could create a note during this little training session, and then my iPad digital cabinet account would sync, and anything that I'm creating would appear in both devices. So it would be on the iPad and the Windows device. You can choose whether or not you want to synchronize automatically, i.e., I save a new document, I create a new document. In the background, Note Anytime, Share Anytime will be synchronizing that into my digital cabinet cloud storage, or I can choose to manually sync. It's this button here, basically. Just toggle that on and off. The other options you've got here, you can obviously change your password. You see how much storage space you've used, and if you wanted to actually log off the digital cabinet, you can unlink, so that the app doesn't stop working, it just won't have your documents from your digital cabinet available. Quite useful if you're going to pass this around between different people. They can just sign in and sign out of digital cabinet as they need to. So one of the things with the structure here, it might look like a file system, but it isn't. We're based on something called tags. And tags allow us to organize files and folders so that we can search for them, so that we can give some semantics to what they actually contain. So probably the best way of describing this is to show you. So I'll start off by creating a folder. And what we'll do is we'll say done. And now that we've got that folder, we can create a basic note within there. So I'll just create one and say hello, and come back out again. So what you'll see now is that at the top of the screen here, we've got a previous sync. So we know that we've got to synchronize again now, which is the little plus as well on the cloud icon at the top right. What we've also got is our note. If we hold down on that note, we get some different options. One of these could be the title. If you wanted to change the title of the note. So we'll call that a sample. The other thing that we could do there is tags. So what tags will allow us to do is to choose what kind of documents, for example, this is. We could say it's a home use document. I've just created this. That could be an invoice, it could be studies, it could be chemistry, biology, whatever you want, basically. And it can be multiple things. So you'll see, for example, it's actually tagged it with this folder. And one of the reasons for that is we can choose to have one document in multiple folders. So just using that example again, you could have current projects as a study group with an essay in it, and then you could also have a folder called chemistry with that essay within it. And it's the same document. Whenever you change the document, you're just accessing it from different places. It's the same document. So the reason for putting these tags in, you'll see now that there's a little blue icon here. If we switch to the actual view, we've tagged it with home use. If we were to have lots of documents, so in this case I'll give you an example of everything within this system. If we didn't know where that sample document was, we can use the search with tags function. So if I tick that I'm only searching for documents that are tagged with the home use, you'll see that it filters out every other document. Similarly, we could say I want everything that doesn't have that particular tag, so it will give me everything apart from that document. The other options, you might say I want to have anything in, let's have a look here, sample for Android. You see we've got 2 documents inside there. So that's a very, very fast way of being able to sort of manage your documents with your tags. It's a similar thing with the folders. So if we go to folder here, it basically will filter by its own tag. That's kind of how it works. If you see at the top here, this is tag AA folder. So it is like a file system in that if you're navigating around, you will be able to see just the files in your folder, but in the background there's a little bit more to it than that's going on. Similarly, we can search for text, so we can say with text, and you'll see here you can search either the text units within the app. Some of these may be premium features as well. If you don't see them, you may need to purchase the full edition of Note Anytime for your platform. But the basic title search, for example, in this case with sample, can be found. But if you were looking for a document you previously written that had text within it, you can use that text unit search as well. So let's move on to actually using the app. So when you're creating a new note, you get an option of a number of different sorts of papers, and again you may have extra papers if you've purchased the premium edition of this, the Note Anytime paid or Share Anytime paid. And when you've created a piece of paper, you're not limited to this style of note. So if I just zoom this, for example, so I could add another page here using another style. So we could say we want a grid pattern. For this particular one, this one's this. We now want to be able to put in a third page, so we'll add another page and we'll put that in as a portrait orientation, and you can see that we've now got the 3 different types of paper within the one note. It's very, very easy to work with your pages. So in this case here we can say cut a page out, paste the page back in, so just flip it around a little bit. We can also say here we wanted to remove a page. We can do them with multiples at the same time. So we could say here, you want to remove those, for an example. And I'll talk about the jump feature which is down there a little bit later. But for our example now, what we're going to do, we'll try our basic tools. We've got our pages, we know how to add a new page into the document, we know how to change its paper style. But the main tools that we're going to use here are the pen tool, which is this icon at the top here. And when you open the pen tool, you'll see that you've got 5 options of pens. These are almost a memory of 5 different types of pen that you can use. If you pick any one of those options, it will pick the style. You'll see it changing at the top here. But also, if we tap it twice, we'll get a pen settings tab that we can use. And this will allow us, again, you might see different pens here depending on the purchase option that you've had, but you'll all have the main one here. We can choose what kind of line we use, whether it's solid or dashed. We can change the colour of the ink, so we can say we want a blue pen. The opacity, i.e. how transparent do you want the pen to be, see-through. How thick do you want the pen to be, so we can say we want a pen thickness of 3, for example. And that will now be stored into that pen slot. And if we draw, so what I'm going to do here, we'll be a bit creative, and we'll try and draw a picture of a fish. Now, one of the things here that was probably quite difficult to see, so before we start, we're going to say, well, we want that actually to be a thickness of 5. And I need to now create that same image but at a thickness of 5. So if I use my lasso tool, this is a real unique thing of Note Anytime. We can now go and say change the style of that particular item, and we'll change it to 5. So now we've got a more visible fish, at least the shape. If we want to be able to zoom in here, we'll just pinch to zoom, same as on most touchscreen devices, and we could draw a nice picture. We'll make him a more vicious looking fish. We'll give him a little fin there as well. Now, that pen drawing, most drawing apps would have what we call raster-based graphics, which means that they're pixels on the screen. Once they're down, they're either overwritten or deleted, but they can't be reworked. A lot of tools will have things like scaling options, and they use complex algorithms to try and work out the best way of moving the size of an image to keep its quality. With Note Anytime and Share Anytime, we have this concept of a virtual whiteboard. So it's not a piece of paper with pixels. This is just an editing space, and it's as big or as small as you need it to be. So in this case, we could take our fish and we can zoom him down, and then we can zoom the paper in. And what you'll see there is that we can keep following that thing. Now, when the pens get to a certain size, you want to be able to change the thickness of the lines, because we've zoomed right in, as you're going to see in a second. So if we just follow the same procedure, because we've zoomed so far, scaled it so far down, we just need to give it a little adjustment here. We'll actually say 1 at this level. And what you can see now is that we've got exactly the same fish shape as I did originally. Now, the difference being between this and other apps, if I now scale out my piece of paper, you can see, hopefully, let me just highlight where it is. That is actually our image of a fish that we created. Now, at any time, we can continue to edit this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work with the lasso tool. I'll just show you how that works. And if we want to be able to pick up, for example, the eye here, we want to be able to move this eye. I can either draw around it using the lasso tool, and then just pick it up and move it. We'll say we want it to be a little bit bigger. And there. Alternatively, we might want to move that dot in the middle, this one here. So I can just tap that particular item and it will select it. If I wanted to pick something a little bit more complex, the way that we do this is we store the data, the strokes that you're making onto the screen as you're tapping. So if I tap, for example, on the line at the top here, I did that in one movement and it all joins together. So you'll see that it picks it all in one go. The fin at the bottom, if I just tap out, that again is on its own. A tooth, I did them all together, and the fin at the top. So all of these are different items, and what it means is that, for example, if I want to correct this particular fin, I could try and make it look a little bit smoother, as an example, just to keep working away on things. Everything can be picked up and messed around with in terms of its style as well. So if we go to here, change style, I could say, well, actually, I want that to be thicker. So we've now got that particular stroke data has been made thicker. If I want a more complex way of picking up, so let's say I want to pick up all those teeth. If I draw around it, I'll pick up the smiley face as well. So we've got a second lasso tool here, which will only pick up an item that is completely encircled. So if I draw now around those teeth, you'll see it only picks up the teeth. And this is particularly valuable if, and I'll give you an example here, we'll add a photo. Just pick this, we'll say normal resolution. So what we've got now is a huge image on the screen compared. And what we want to do is we want to put our fish over this, but be able to still pick up those individual items that were there. So what we can do here, if we say, first and foremost, send it to the back. We've now got our fish, and what we're going to do is we're going to make that fish, if I touch it here, sorry, with the lasso tool, it's actually picking the entire image. You can probably see there on the screen that it's the whole image. And what we want to be able to do is just pick the fish. I can't do it by picking, drawing around the item. It's just not going to work. It's always going to pick the entire shape. So what we can do is switch this second lasso tool, and I can pick up my fish, and I can move him to anywhere that I like. I could pick him up there. I don't want to convert him to text, that was a mistake, sorry. I can pick him up and I can say, change his style, we want to change his colour to white. And then put him back over here. And then we're just basically always working with the enclosed selection. Other things that we could do here, we can work on the layers, as I mentioned. So if we wanted to change the style again here, we'll make it black line, say done. If we want the image to be in front of the fish, we can pick the image, bring it to the front, and we've now covered the fish with this. And this will work across any number of layers, so as you're adding more content on, we could add another drawing here. Let's put a red. Oops, so I've selected that. So now we have a smiley face, so we can then pick him. So we need to pick him with a tool like this. Move it across. But you'd see that's in front of the fish as well, because it's already in front. It's the topmost layer. If we move him down, he's now at the back of the layers. So hopefully this will work with any content that you've got, including text and other things there. I'm just going to get rid of these other items, so we can just say remove and remove this. And hopefully I'm just trying to show you again, these are just taps to pick individual items rather than drawing the lasso around. If we go by that premise of only circling what's there, if I pick using the wrong tool here, I could accidentally move away the content. I don't want to. It's all part of the same object, and if that happens, it's going to be very, very frustrating. So I want to be able to somehow keep everything tied together. So the way we do that is using what we call grouping. So if you go to more on the options and group, now it doesn't matter, I can't pick just those items, I have to pick the entire fish, and that is now picked up and moved as a single entity all the time. It can still be scaled, everything can be rotated. It can be positioned, rotated, scaled in for anything that you've got there. If you've got an image plus some handwriting plus some of the other versions will allow, for example, to add a web page capture. They can all be grabbed together, grouped, and then scaled down together. One thing now with this fish. So let's say that we want to copy and paste this. We want a school of fish. We can either do it within the document, which is to pick and then standard copy, hold down, release, paste, and we can repeat that process. The other thing that we could do is we could want to use this forever. Let's say this was the logo of my my brand. So I now want to be able to use that in other documents in the future. I don't want to have to keep coming into this document to copy it and paste it. We can do what we call register item. And what register item will do, if you go to plus content here and say add item, it will show a list of items at the top, and there's a number of different fish here. You can say we'll add that one in again. I might want to add a different fish. Let's add this one. So it allows you to create a reusable library of content that it can be images, it can be text. I think I actually have something in there. So if I go to add item, I have my this is a fish. Now I might say, well, actually, We want that to be rotated around this way. And that's actually what we're going to move on to next, which is this is what we call a text unit. So text unit, the T at the top. If we tap into an existing text unit, as we're doing here, it will allow us to edit that unit. Let me bring up a keyboard. So if I add this into there, you'll see the RTM has been added in there. I'll start with a fresh one because I think it's a little bit easier to read. So if we were to type in here hello, enter, we can work on that text unit style the same way as we can work with a stroke data, a pen data file. Sorry, I need to just pick my lasso. So if we click on text unit style here, you can see that we're able to change a number of settings on this as well. So the distance on the line feeds, styles around the actual text unit, so we can give it a border and a line around it. We can change its background colour, so you might say I want it to be a bit like a sticky note, for example. Colour of the text itself, and then also we might want to say, well, we don't want Cambria, we want something a little bit more fun. Let's have a little peek here. Let's say this one here, and we want it to be a bit smaller. So what we've now got is the exact settings that we've set up there. We can position it anywhere we want, we can rotate it anywhere we want, we could take it from here and we could say send it behind the fish, for an example. So hopefully that'll give you a good idea of the most basic ways of adding content, of working with content within both Note Anytime and Share Anytime. If you just want to look at information, you'll have noticed a few times there, I'd like to say it was on purpose, but it's because I'm stretched over onto a touch screen here, but I've been accidentally drawing, for example, on the screen. You know, I leant across and I'll have done this, and then you just undo. If you're presenting a document to somebody, if you just want to show them something, or you just want to read a document, you can tap on this first icon, and it's basically a view icon, view only. And the difference with this will be, I can't draw, but also if I hold my finger down, hopefully you can see the circle there, you can just move around your document with one finger tap. You don't have to use two, even though you still can. Similarly there, if I tap on the edges of the screen, you can see it's moving between the different pages in my document. I'm on the first page there, sorry. And similarly with the top and the bottom as well. So it's a very, very nice way of being able to just show a document, or just to read a document without accidentally editing it. You've also got a laser pointer tool. So if you were presenting this like I am to you now, and I say, well, here's a school of fish, there's the text unit, the laser pointer will allow you to mark up just to emphasize, I'm talking about this fish, not this fish. It's also a very powerful tool when you're in Share Anytime, and Share Anytime will allow you to have each user with a different color laser pointer. I can actually do it on here as well. If I tap on the laser pointer, I could personalize it just my own preferences as well, just for how I like to use it. So what I also want to do now, there's two more things with documents that I think are quite important, and the first is how you import a PDF document. So particularly with forms, let's say that either from a business or school use, you've got some kind of predefined document in PDF. You can add it into Note and Share Anytime. The platforms are different because of the way that the operating systems work. For example, if you're on Android, you've got local file store there. You might have transferred files onto there via your USB cable or whatever. You would then go to your File Explorer and you can open in app and open in Note Anytime, and it will do the conversion. If you're on iOS, you could, for example, open your email, see the attachment, pick the open in icon, and it will list Note Anytime or Share Anytime, and it'll do the conversion. Similarly, you could be maybe in another app, so you could be in Dropbox, and they will integrate with other apps by using the open-in functionality. What we've got here, because it's Windows 8, we can say PDF, and it's just gone straight to SkyDrive, so just pick a document we've already set up. And when we import the document, the PDF here, we've got a few options. So we could change its rotation. So if we've got a PDF that's on its side and we want it to be corrected, that would let us do it. Also, we can choose the location to put this, and this is designed for reviewing. So if I want a little bit of white space around the edges of my document so that I can add some comments in the borders, which is pretty much what it is, we can use these different settings. And it won't lose any quality, it won't lose the image that I'm going to show you. It'll just give us that little bit of extra space on the background of each page. So say done on that. You see it's quite a fast process. And I've just taken this off the web here. It's a Wall Street Journal article sample. If we zoom in, you should see that the quality of the document is retained, but I can't pick anything. It's a background image. So I can annotate this PDF. So for example, here's the images and things. I could pick my pen. I could create a, we'll say it's a solid pen, this colour, opacity 80, thickness, say this, I don't know how thick that'll be exactly. But you can hopefully see there, again, note anytime I can say change style, opacity, let's make it about 67. So we've got a nice highlighting tool now, for example. So I could highlight this line. I could then take a pen and I could say, do we want to change, as an example. If I wanted to add a different image, it's not a problem to do. We could do exactly what we did before in the previous example. We'll just say open. Typically you'll use a normal resolution image because of the size of them. If you want to retain that image, because you can save this image out again later on and distribute it via your document, you might want to embed the actual high definition photographs or whatever else it is you're doing. A good example of that would be something like a yearbook or a night out, people taking pictures onto their phone or onto their tablets, put it into the Note Anytime document, people are signing the photos, I had a wonderful time, thank you. You could then distribute that document out to everybody and they could save them back onto their local computer when they're reading the Note Anytime document, so they've got a copy of all the photographs even though it was originally in a document from Note Anytime. So that's the idea of this. When you're doing this kind of work, and maybe I could show a couple of more advanced features here. At the bottom right, we've got two other icons. I'll use this first one. This is the wrist guard. So hopefully you can see there we've now got a nice transparent box. If I try and draw, I'll use the big red pen. If I try and draw on this space, I can't. But I can draw if I start behind it. So it basically will stop me from accidentally drawing on my document. If you need to be able to move this around, obviously you can size it, but we can also spin it. So you can choose which corner of the document. So if you've got a piece of work you're doing, it's a bit fine, or the way that you hold your tablet, or whatever it is, the idea is that you can keep moving this this wrist guard around to whatever's the right place for you. If you're left-handed or right-handed, for example, is a common scenario there. And when you finish, you can just put it away again using the little icon there. We talked about text, and what we didn't really cover is if I wanted to make notes in text, how would I do that? So first and foremost, we could start with a particular size. I'll use this keyboard. So this is my note. Press enter. This is line 2. So a typical document, just like you would with anything else, we could change its alignment there, so we could organise it how we want. But you might be wanting to take handwritten notes. That's a big part of Note Anytime, not just the typing. So to help with that, Let me pick a pen here, I'll zoom in. We have this bottom right tool, which is a zoomed view, and this will put a little blue box. You can see at the bottom here it's zooming into where that box is. And what we can do with this is we can start to write. And before we do that, let me just bring up the screen a bit. We can start to write in here, hello, and you'll see it appearing at the correct zoom level above there. If we press enter, you'll see it's jumped back to the left hand side here. We'd have to keep moving it back. And the reason for this is we've got a margin on the left, so we can drag him across. And if I press enter now, it will move one line at a time down that left margin. So this is a way of being able to capture your handwriting very, very quickly. The other thing that we might want to do here, we might want to be able to move along. So as you saw there, if I'm writing hello, this is. Now, if I want to write Ben, I might not have enough room there. So I've moved into this box on the right here, and you'll see it automatically will position what I'm doing. So you can just keep writing, hit enter. So that's how this this tool works at the bottom here. And if we wanted to be able to use a form over and over again, so we've imported it, but we want to be able to make this into a standard template that we're going to use over and over again. A typical example might be a customer filling out a form. We can pick any document in our viewer here and tick what we call a note template. You'll see that's now marked it as a template. And what happens now is if I open that document, it won't open the actual document. Here's a list of them all in just one place. If I just open the document, it'll create a new instance of the document. So this is the content. I might say, well, I don't want that piece on this new one, so I'll get rid of it. And I've now got a new instance of that document. And I could turn that into a template if I wanted to as well. So I could have, you know, this is a basic layout, this is a layout with a logo, this is a layout with a logo, a footer and a header, and just keep building on my templates like that. But then to any other user, or for myself later on, if I want to write a letter, I would just create a letter with header and footer, with logo, header and footer, and then change its title to, you know, whatever I want to call it here. So I'll just call it Instance Ben. So it's just a fast way of being able to create new content. And I think that probably covers it for this first tutorial. Hopefully you've seen there, holding down on anything and then letting go will pop up the little menus. So if you want to delete items or duplicate them here and so on. The main thing with Note Anytime is that it's very, very simplistic system to use. It does have, however, some extra fancy add-ons, and I just want to just cover that off now. This is something that it's totally up to you if it interests you as a feature. It is very, very popular, and it's called Mazek, and it's our handwriting recognition technology. And if you wanted it, you go into the add-on stores. You see here I've already purchased the English version, but we've got 13 languages or so. Once it's installed into the app, when I click on the text tool, instead of just getting the normal software keyboard, which will look very similar to what I was hopefully showing you before, we get what we call the Mazek keyboard. And Mazek's got a lot of options and things there. We're not going to go into those now. But we could choose, instead of putting text in, we could write hello. And I'll show you why I've done this in a second. I'll add a second one in. I'll pick this second mode, which is to do real-time handwriting conversion. So I'll write hello again, and you'll see that I can pick the words. This is Ben. and it will automatically say, for example, Ben is a name, so it's got a very, very complex prediction engine behind it. If I want to be able to move words around, if I hold down between the two, you can see here, this is especially when you've got maybe a little bit less of a gap or too much of a gap between letters, it will automatically try and work out what those are. And the spacing and so on is all configurable, so if I move that again, I'll get this is Ben. I can just add that into the system. Different languages there. We also, I'm not going to do a big demonstration of all the features here, but there's a user dictionary. So, for example, if you're working on a particular academic subject, if you're a doctor, if it's technical terms, in IT or whatever, you can program those in. So you can also identify them against an acronym. So if I always, for example, say that a BEN isn't just a name, it could be big endian numerics or something like that, I could have it so that it would automatically expand out the acronym into the full description in any document that I'm writing. I just type Ben and it would say, I understand Ben could be this phrase as well as the name as well as the other things. So it's a very, very powerful feature there. One last thing just wanted to do here. Sorry, if I click on the right thing would help. We also can pick any item that we've written in, and we can say we want to convert it to text. Apart from this one, obviously. Let me just do this by this. So there's our word hello. Pick him. And it will automatically convert to hello. Pretty much, I think this is one of the best handwriting recognition tools on the market. Hopefully you can see here. It might not work. I've purposely done that very, very badly, but and I'm not just picking the word hello here because it's a word that I know. It just is lots of vertical lines and so on. But you can see more of this on our YouTube channel. We can also take full pages of text and it will go through everything on your document and convert them into text from handwriting. Ask any questions if you have them. But thank you very much for joining us today, and I really hope this has been useful for you. And I'd love to get your feedback. Give us a shout on Twitter, Note Anytime. Look at Share Anytime. It's great for collaborative, real-time documents editing if you've got teams of people, social for business. And we've also got Facebook, facebook.com/noteanytime if you want to give us a comment there. Thanks very much for joining. Bye for now.